Okay, I live, die, and breathe for my people, for my viewers, and that is why I am doing this video. I'm going to be taking apart this Sandshark right here. Now, why am I hesitating to take apart this Sandshark? Because it's working so well. For those that don't know, I had one of these before and it had misfire issues. It was firing very, very sluggishly. I took it apart a bunch of times trying to figure it out, clean it out. It just got worse until it eventually kind of really quit working. So I inherently didn't want to take this one apart because it's running so well. I've already taken the other one apart, but I've gotten multiple requests from you guys to open this up and do a video on it. So I'm going to do it. All I ask in return is just pump this video up, give it likes, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not already. It helps me out so much and makes this whole experience just better for everybody, especially the comments. Really like that. So we're going to open this up. We're going to compare it to a standard Microtech-like system. This is not a Microtech. This is the EMP EDC Pulse. However, I'm pretty sure this uses the standard Microtech OTF, double action OTF system. So we're going to open this bad boy up. First step is to get this blade disconnected. So we're going to hold on to the blade in a safe manner, just pinch it, and then we're going to retract it. And then now we are disconnected. And then we're going to slowly and confidently remove all these body screws. Now I've done this a bunch, so this is not something surprising or new for me. I haven't taken this exact knife apart, but like I said, the original one that I received that was having problems, I took that one apart a bunch, and surprisingly, comes apart and goes back together very, very well. And the other thing I think you'll be surprised about, once we actually open this up, maybe I'll keep it a secret. Let's keep that one a secret. Let's see if you notice right away what I might say once we get this cover off here. We can also talk a little bit about the internals, but in particular I want to show you kind of the overall construction of what is going on inside here. So those are all the body screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lift this off, and then here we have the inside. So let's take a look here. So this uses kind of like the Dirac Delta. Obviously they didn't invent it, but it has this carriage system right here that the button screws into. You can also remove that if you want. And then it's got these 4 prongs that interact with these 4 holes here to move the carriage up and down. Really like this system because it's very secure. You can see no rattling, nothing going on, nice and smooth. Unlike the side actuated buttons that are usually on a spring or something, it's kind of got to be floating. This particular system is far more secure in my opinion. I don't know why we don't have these front open OTFs more often. Now the other thing I want to do is, the other question I got, the pushback I got was somebody had said that they had heard that Desert Knife Works was using 303 stainless, which is a non-magnetic, non-hardening steel. So they wanted me to check to see if it was magnetic. So I did that in a short. Put a magnet up to it, this cute little wiener looking mushroom magnet, and it stuck. But then I got a bunch of people saying, well, no, that's because of the carriage, or that's because of the locks. It's not actually magnetic. So let's test it. This is nothing but the front plate here. There's nothing else in there. I'm going to come down here. We are completely magnetic. This is like probably 410 stainless, I think is what I heard it was confirmed to be. So it is not 303 stainless. It's your standard 410 stainless, which, by the way, every single stainless-bodied OTF that I have ever seen has been 410 stainless. So I think it's a very commonly used steel for the chassis there. Let's open this up and compare the two. So you can see very similar, right? Different shapes. This one has the side button actuation, but it's got the carriage here. This has the carriage here. Dual springs on this, which is nice. Usually that means less force to open up the knife, and oftentimes you'll get a little bit more oomph behind the firing. It also depends on how big it is and things like that. So let's take this button out and lose that spring, although this doesn't have a spring or a bearing, which is interesting. Usually there's a spring to kind of allow this to float on the outside a little bit better. This does not have any of that unless I lost it, which would be a shame. So hopefully that's not the case. Let's get this carriage out of here. What is this? What is this? This goes in the blade, and I don't know how that fell out. Must have stuck due to oil. You can see quite a bit of oil in this one too, but only on like the outside. Like it's not oily in the track or anything. So let's remove this, put that over here, trying to keep everything in frame and not lose parts. Let's remove this chassis right there, or this, yeah, whatever I said. The carriage. Let's remove that carriage. And then let's look at the bigger changes, right? So you can see here, this one has 2 locking gates, one in the open position, one in the closed position. Most Microtechs actually have them on opposing sides. I forget which side is which, but this one actually has them on the same side. I don't think it makes a difference. So one locks it in the open position. When you push it up, see how that gate moved over? Now it is locked. You can move this gate this way, which is what the carriage would do. So the carriage would do this for you. Move that out of the way, and then it comes down, and then it locks right here. So now it's locked down here. Same thing, move this out of the way, which once again, when you slide that carriage up by moving that button, it's opening these gates for you, and as soon as it gets past this gate and it's free, then it flies open. That's how that kind of works. On the Sandshark, it's the same exact system, but we have 2 gates on each side. So it works the same. You open it up, and both of these lock into place. So you are locking on both sides of the tang in both directions. Does make it a little bit more difficult to manually open these up, because I've got to do both at the same time, and so it's a little bit trickier. Let me see if I can even do it without hitting the camera. There we go. So I'm not going to do it in the closed position because it's kind of a pain, as you saw before. But yeah, so that's how that works. It has 2 locking gates here, 2 locking gates in the closed position. This one doesn't really matter that much, right? You're not really exerting a lot of force when it's closed. Nothing's trying to pull that blade out. But they went ahead and just did a mirror on each side, I guess, to make it the same. This is the one that's important. This is the one that if you're stabbing something, it's putting force on these gates here. And as you've seen, if you've watched the chip metal video, very, very robust design on here. Works very, very well. It took a lot of force, and not only did it not fail, it didn't deform or anything. So let's see, is this as far as we want to go? I mean, okay, let's go all the way. Let's go all the way, baby. Pull out that pin just like that other one. Then we can pull this blade completely out. Let's take a look at the machining, which is the other thing I wanted to point out, and that was the thing I was alluding to. Look how clean this machining is. Now, like I said on the other one, a lot of people complain how oily it is in here, and it's really just here, right? There's not really any oil in the track that matters. This oil doesn't matter. It's just in between the surfaces. It's good because it'll help prevent any sort of water from getting in there and causing rust and things. So I'm not even going to wipe that. I'm just going to put this right back together. But you can see how well everything is machined. It also, I don't believe it matters what direction you put the blade in. It appears to be completely symmetrical, and being a dagger grind, it makes no difference. So got that in there. Put the carriage on. It can kind of just float. Here's a little trick if you've taken these apart to put this together. Push this carriage kind of all the way up to the top. You can see how it kind of clicked and it's stopping right there. Put the button all the way up to the top as well. And that way when you set it on, those prongs, the button, everything lines up. Easy peasy. No problem lining it up. I heard some people talk about potentially having some issues kind of getting it back together. And I am going to just manhandle the crap out of that there. So now comes the other real test here. If we get this back together, did I mess anything up? Did I introduce oxygen to the oil, which then caused it to thicken up and then will cause it to fail? Or is it going to continue to run just like it has been? Now we're just going to do 4 screws for now, and then I'll get out of your hair because this will prove the point. And I can put together the rest of this and put together that other OTF off camera. You guys don't want to see me do all that. You've seen me screw enough in this video, right? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Okay, nice and tight. Whoa, what do we got going on here? We have an issue. What is happening? Why is that lifted at the bottom there? Okie dokie, I don't understand-y. This isn't good. This isn't good. No wonder these were a little more difficult to screw in. What have I done here? This was supposed to be simple. You see what I'm talking about? See how on the bottom here, that's lifted? Do you think, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's take this. Let's loosen this up. That's too big. Let's loosen this up and see if it's just kind of hitting that. Okay, let's take that off. And it is still lifted on the bottom there. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, this is not going together as well as I had thought. And this almost makes me wonder, is this some of the problem people have had? Not getting this fully back together correctly. Interesting. Okay. What do you think is happening here? I don't know. It's working now. It is working now. So I don't know what happened. Something got caught and didn't fully allow that to tighten up and close at the bottom there. I don't know exactly what happened. Let me double check. Maybe I'll do top and bottom first. Right? This is good. Yeah. Everything's nice and tight down there now. So interesting. Maybe something to keep your eye open when you put this back on top. Just make sure you don't have any weird lifting going on the bottom there. I don't think I had that issue on the first one I had. But then again, maybe I just didn't notice. Let's see how we're going to work here. And then I've got to put that pocket clip back on here. The anticipation is probably killing all of us. Okay, so let's lock this back out. Working like a champ. Back to normal. You can see there's no lifting on this side anymore. Something just didn't quite line up down there. I don't know exactly what that was. Glad I caught it though, because I have a feeling if I hadn't done that, it would not be working properly. So I don't know if you need to remove that pocket clip and that glass breaker, or if it was just a weird thing where it didn't quite line up. Maybe that carriage didn't fully seat all the way at the bottom. I'm not quite sure. Something to keep in mind if you take these apart. Just look at that. Okay, so there we are. There is inside the new Desert Knife Works Sandshark. No problem taking it apart. I was going to say super easy to take apart and put back together, but maybe that's not so true because we did run into that little snag at the bottom. All right, guys, comment down below. Appreciate all of you. Couldn't do this without you. Wouldn't want to anyways. You have a good day. I'm out.